Welcome to the final episode of Get a Grip on Lighting. I'm joined with Greg Ehrich. It's Michael Colligan here. And we want you to know that this episode of the podcast is brought to you by the original sponsors of this show, Keystone Technologies. Go to KEYSTONETECH.com, Greg Ehrich.
Hey, a special company to us personally for all the help and support they gave us over the years, but also from a business standpoint, man, they make a ton of sense for every lighting distributor. They listen to you, they adapt. And because of that, they've grown like no other company has in the last 15 years, 10 years in the lighting industry. When we first started talking to Josh and the crew, there's maybe 10, maybe 20 people that worked at Keystone. We're not joking. I think it was something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a few people, and they sold ballast. And then the LED revolution came along, and they started listening to us. Like, yes, everybody wants a Type B. Sorry, three big dogs. Nobody's going to listen to you. They're all going to go Type B at some point. And sure enough, they did. Keystone did it right from the beginning. They listened to what the people wanted, what the end user wants, what the distributor wants, and that's what they've done better than anybody. And that's why they've taken a leadership position, is listening. So, Keystone, thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for listening to the industry and helping us grow it.
And supporting conversations on Get a Grip on Lighting. So go to KeystoneTech.com. That's KEYSTONETECH.com. The Big Easy. I always call them the Big Easy because they're light made easy. So check them out. And of course, they're members, and Greg and I are members of the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors. They weren't on from day one, but we convinced them around episode 6 to let us be the official podcast of the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors, and the rest is history, Greg.
That's right. Great organization. That's how we met. That's how this whole show came about. Was from Nailed. So we appreciate all the support in the organization over the years and the growth we've had with them as well.
Yeah, it's been an interesting run. We ended up managing Nailed. We'll talk a little bit about that on the show. Go to naild.org if you have light bulbs in a warehouse. That's right. If you have light bulbs in a warehouse, NAILD is your organization. Hey, Greg, how's it going?
Good, Mike. How are you?
Are you nervous?
Nervous for what?
Exactly. I,
Yeah.
people, some people have asked me if I'm nervous about this, and I said, no, I'm not that nervous. It's, it's time for new things and that. And so, what I wanted to start off by asking you was, when did this actually start? Like before we even pushed record, I don't think it started all the way back in 2008. It was sometime in between 2008 when we met and going to China, somewhere between. When did it start for you that you realized you need to
So
elevate your voice?
I don't know if I ever realized that. I feel like we just did. It just kind of came naturally over time because it was needed. But I think it was. We met in 2008, roughly. I think maybe seven, or it was
Maybe
8. We
seven,
think
maybe
it's 8. Yeah.
something like
We
that.
know we went to China in 2014 when LEDs started coming around hot to kind of see how it was all done. Visited a number of factories and all that. But before that, we started doing nailed conventions. And then I think we hit a light fair or two together. And maybe something, maybe a couple shows that were around then, LED show or,
Mm-hmm.
Light Show West, or I don't remember what all the names were.
Sure.
But I think we hit a number of shows together, started traveling together, started talking to people together, and we're like, yeah, we're all, different, but we're all like-minded in what we want for the industry and what we want for lighting. And I think that's what we've, found over the years. Like if you take you and I outside of lighting, I don't know that, we don't have, we're pretty different people, and
Yeah.
I think the show saw that. But lighting brought us together, and we've really grown to be good friends over the years because of it. But yeah, it's I would say, so to answer your question, when did it come about? I mean, I don't think you can pinpoint it. Just gradually came to what it is. Started in 8, and here we are in 2000 and almost 26.
Yeah. And I would say that there was a watershed moment at the Conrad Hotel in Hong Kong. Just for me personally. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you remember
Yeah.
that when we were staying at the Conrad, but we went over to the Shangri-La. The two hotels were attached.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yep.
And we walked
Walked
over to
over.
the Shangri-La Hotel, and we went to up the floors to this lounge. And we were eating the seafood tower, and the abalone sushi was so good. And there was this lounge singer, and she was singing. It was so amazing. And we are looking out on the Hong Kong harbor, and we had just visited a whole bunch of LED lighting factories in China. And I really felt like an industry insider at that point in my life. Like when after I'd
Yeah.
been through those factories, I was like, nobody's seen this in Canada or United States.
hmm You're right. Yeah. I mean, there's a few people that are manufacturers, but from our side, no, nobody was really looking at that and seeing it. And for the record, the seafood tower was huge and it was on the bar top.
Oh yeah.
Sit at the bar. Yes, no, that moment was pretty unique. I give you that. Just that whole trip. We were there for 14 days or
Something
18
like
days
that.
or
Yeah, I almost
yeah,
died.
yeah. You almost died, but we had a good time.
Yeah, I didn't fall
Kind of
off a cliff like Matt Hansen, but
no.
I got too into the Chinese food and it didn't sit well with
Yeah.
me. Something went wrong there. So yeah, kind of like at that point, I realized that perhaps for me, I should speak out. Like I should talk more about lighting. I just felt like at that point, I knew the questions to ask. I knew how this stuff was made. I saw it made. I saw people in flip flops beside
hmm
molten aluminum, right? Remember
Yes.
that?
Living at the factory. Their house is here. Their work is here. Yeah, and we saw the range. We saw people in full clean suits.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything right to people in flip flops for real. Like
yeah,
molten stuff right there.
yeah.
Like crazy.
It was absolutely crazy, and I think at the time there was five. They didn't know how many LED lighting factories were in Shenzhen. No one could actually answer the question
It
of
was
how
everywhere.
everywhere you went, people were making LEDs. You
Yeah.
could just turn into an industrial park and park in, and they were making LED tubes there.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And then we saw that mall that was it in Shenzhen, I
Shenzhen,
think?
yeah,
Yeah, and it was like, I don't know how many floors high and how big, but it was huge. And it was every lighting component you could imagine and like set up into different shops. So you could go, oh, well, here's my end cap, here's my board, here's my driver, here's all this. I'm going to smush it together and make a light bulb. That's basically what we
and like
saw.
I'm talking, we're talking like a building that's the size of Yankee Stadium.
Huge.
And
Absolutely.
like Americans don't understand the scale of. They think everybody in America thinks America's the biggest in terms of size. You can't compare it to China. It's not even comparable. The things are
Just go
so
to
much bigger.
just go to Shanghai and everything changes. Like that
Yeah,
place was nuts. Like it
yeah,
had, there's I got downtown Minneapolis where I live, and there's about I don't know 70 downtown Minneapolis and Shanghai.
yeah.
Just everywhere.
Yeah, and the
So,
scale of it is so huge. And like you go to a factory in the middle of nowhere, and like you said, like 6,000 people live there. They live on the
hmm
factory. They were rice farmers, and they moved to this factory where they now assemble screws 37 to 41. You know what I mean, or whatever. And they
right
sit
down
there
the
all
line,
day long, like that, like
shoulder to
doing
shoulder, down the line
shoulder to
for
shoulder all the
sure.
way down the line. It was crazy to see that. And we walked through it.
hmm
Mrs. Wang walked us through
Yeah,
the factory.
yeah, and I think that's what we've always had is that kind of curiosity to and why the podcast came about is because we've always questioned things like, well, why is this going on, or how is this done, and then you do some research to it too. You don't just question it and walk away. That's what the podcast is research in a way. We bring on experts, we talk to them. We've become experts over the years, and it's from learning from others and actually doing things and experiencing it and seeing, like real world experience. Like we're selling lighting every day, so we know what's out there. We know what people want. We know what they're
Hmm.
doing, and we're seeing it. And then we're seeing how it's built, and we're seeing how it's sold, and kind of got to see the whole gamut over the last
I'll never
15 years.
forget when we were in that. So we showed up at a factory with 6,000 people that lived at it, and they weren't ready for us. I don't think they knew we were actually coming, or it was
Right,
communicated correctly. And so we
right.
walked into this industrial park where there's how it looks like a military base, more like a military base
Yep.
than a factory. And you walk in, and then all these Chinese people start going crazy. Nobody speaks English, and
Nope.
then we're ushered into the boardroom upstairs, and an interpreter and the factory manager come in the boardroom like half an hour later. Remember that?
Yes.
And
Yep.
on the wall of the boardroom is the packaging of all major U.S. retailer lighting brands.
You see them all right down the line.
They're all there. Okay,
Yep.
and it's got the Home Depot, the Walmart, this that. It's all up on the wall. And we say to the lady, people tell us that the light bulbs are made differently. Um, that one brand can be made to a better quality than this brand. Is that true? And then the Chinese guy interprets to the factory manager, and they talk and da da da, and all of a sudden they start laughing, and then they talk a little bit more, and the interpreter says, "My boss say all light bulb made the same. Impossible to make light bulb different. All light bulb of same type made same way."
Yeah, and because that always one of my questions, as long as I've been in lighting and some technology makes sense, is what's commercial grade versus residential grade? What actually goes into it? Show me. And I
Hmm.
get it, like an incandescent, sure, you got extra um, supports or whatever, or extra filaments or, that makes it stronger. But what's in an LED that makes it stronger? There's the chip, the driver, the combination. That's the answer, but it's also, and heat sink and all that is the answer. But it's like when you go to it and you see it and they tell you that there is no difference, and it's like, whoa, who's right here? What's happening?
I think they're right at the factory. Um,
I would say so.
yeah, the when we were at our peak, we were taking a huge chunk of the lighting industry's ad revenue. When you consider Lighting Controls podcast, Nailed, and Get a Grip on Lighting, and the Lighting Industry News Brief, that was a big, chunk. No wonder there was some resentment towards Get a Grip on Lighting. No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing for some people, we kind of just came out of nowhere, and it's not our full time job. This is we're out selling lighting every day, and we're squeezing this in for however long we've been doing it, as often as we are. It takes a lot of time. But yeah, I could see that happening because it's like, who are these guys to say, and I don't know if it's ever, I've never really felt like it's all me or it's all you. It's all us. Like we just talk to people. We talk to the industry. We get experts on. We get other people. Other people in Nailed could do this show. Maybe not as good as you, but better than I can. And these are the discussions that we've had throughout the years, and so that's just how I feel is that we've been able to talk about the right stuff to make sense for advertisers that sponsor it.
Yeah, and you never once had an advertiser say you can't say this or you can't say that. We said whatever we wanted.
You're right. You're right.
And I think that the fact that it was a side hustle, so like I made good money on Get a Grip on Lighting. Nailed was a pain in the butt. It was a lot of work
Mm.
for not a lot of money. But Get a Grip on Lighting was fun, and I used that money. We used that money, buddy, to fly around the world first class and stay in the best hotels in the world, dude.
We did. We had a lot of good trips together, and and we learned every time we did those. And that's really where a lot of your and I stuff started was because we like to hang out and see things and experience it, and this helped us get into a lot of places.
We ate at some of the best restaurants in Europe and America. This money that we made from Get a Grip on Lighting was pure funny money, dude. We did whatever we wanted. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was
Hmm.
like, oh, you want to do something? You want to go on a crazy trip into southern Bavaria in Germany? Into what was that town we went to?
Briar's Bond, was it?
Bayersbronn,
Yeah,
outside of
yeah,
Freiburg, and we went to
yeah.
German. We went to German Disneyland for adults.
Toured the Black Forest or whatever it was. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was fun.
and everyone's wearing dirndls and lederhosen, and there's like people hunting with weird old rifles. You could see them walking down the street. And we ordered that trout, that smoked trout, and I asked the lady where it came from, and she said it comes from the river at the back.
Right, right behind.
Yeah,
Crazy.
crazy, crazy.
And
So
here we are dressed like this. I mean, you're wearing a suit, I'm wearing a t-shirt, that kind of thing.
yeah, but you know what? There was something about the side hustle nature of it that was very liberating. If this was your full time gig, and that was the money you earned to pay for everything. Like you didn't have a lighting distribution business that was your primary source of income. Not that this was bad money, but
Right.
the if that was your primary source of income, you're for sure going to be compromised, easily compromised, Greg.
Oh yeah, yeah, you have to be, and you'd be stressed the whole time. And for us, it was just a natural thing that made sense. Like, yeah, we talk about this stuff anyways. We might as well get it out there and get other people to talk about it too. And that's what I've always liked about it for sure.
And Keystone has supported us all the way along from as soon as
Hmm.
they bought the first ad we sold. I
Yep.
still had the check stub on my bulletin board forever for that first check.
Did you?
Yeah, I had it on my bulletin board
Funny.
forever. But then like after that, if we lost a sponsor, we picked up another sponsor. Someone else
Right.
wanted to sponsor it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just real talk in the industry, and we had a lot of listeners, and we appreciate that, but it was just about the whole goal of all of this is to make lighting better, and I hope we've done that over time, and I think we have. We've contributed to that for sure, but um, yeah, it's interesting to think back on how it all came about too, and even the name, Get a Grip. You
What are you gonna
remember where
say?
that came from?
Well, I used to say "get a grip" to people a lot until I named my
All
show
the
"Get a
time.
Grip on Lighting." Yeah, I used to say, and then I was gonna call. I think we were gonna call it. I think if you go back to episode 1 and you listen, I call it the Lighting Specialist Podcast after LS1.
Yep.
But then you're like, "Nah, man, you got to call it "Get a Grip on Lighting." And then yeah, that's exactly what we got to call it. Yeah,
Because
yeah,
you would at nailed conventions, you'd get you get in heated arguments at times, and you'd be like, "You have to get a grip, get a
yeah.
grip," and you got "Get a Grip." I think from isn't it a Biggie song, Notorious B.I.G.
Get a grip and mother effer. That right
right
at
at
the
the beginning.
beginning. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, but
yeah.
it's so many people, so many people out there, and like there's, we talked about on our show the deep state of lighting, but what's
Hmm.
interesting that I've noticed as I explored all the deep state topics, and you remember we're very intimate on lighting. I know how the lighting industry works, from how it's manufactured in China all the way to how it's recycled. Like I don't
Yeah,
think there's anyone in the world that has knows more about the life cycle of a light bulb than Michael Colligan. I'm going to say that right here on the show. Okay? I know I've seen the factories where they're made and I've seen the factories where they're dismantled and they're destroyed. And I'm a subject matter expert in the field of light bulb recycling. Okay?
hmm,
But I've also seen how they're made. So there really isn't anyone, I don't know anyone that has that breadth of experience. But so many people out there could just open their eyes and look around a little bit more. What the hell is
right.
going on around you? Get a grip, man. Like
Yeah,
that's what all the great sages and wisdom things that I've read in my life. The lesson I take from it is that it's very difficult for people to acknowledge reality. Like reality acknowledgement is the key to wisdom. I don't know if it's the key to success, Greg. I think maybe if you get like me, you start getting consequences for that wisdom sometimes, right?
sure.
But
Yep.
if that's what you're after, you have to acknowledge reality. And what Greg and I did is we did our best to like really acknowledge sort the signal from the noise in lighting. There was so
Yeah,
much noise in the lighting industry about LEDs. And I'll tell you, Greg Ehrich and Michael Colligan did not believe the lifetime claims of LEDs from day one, Greg. Did you believe it from day
right.
one?
Never. Nope. We couldn't. They were like how could they claim what they claimed without even having operated for that long? Sure, there's advanced fast tests and all that, but let's get through 100,000 hours before you say it's 100,000 hours.
Yeah, that's like
You
13
know,
years or something.
yeah. So around now, you
Yeah.
can tell us, yeah, that one in 2014 lasted 100,000 hours.
I would say an LED, any LED, whether it's a fixture or a bulb, lasts 2 premium fluorescent tube lives.
That's a fair number, yeah. Yeah.
So something like 50 or 60,000 hours at the most.
Yep.
And then you have to change the fixture out. Or
The whole
something
thing.
ballast or something's wrong that's super complicated. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I
Then it
challenge
changes.
anyone to argue with me on that. You know what I mean? You
No.
want to talk about that?
Yeah. No, I think that's what our show has proven over and over and over and over. Talking to everybody. That's where it's at. You're right.
I wonder if we accomplished anything. So do you,
Yeah,
eh?
I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like you try to think of something. Whenever I think of an accomplishment, I try to think tangible. Like, what specifically was it? What was the item, or what is the number, or what is the thing? I don't think you can put anything on that with what we've done, but yeah, I mean, I think we've accomplished something. I think we've brought the lighting industry together to some degree. Like I'm not saying we're all that great, but like we've also like been open to talking to all parties that are involved. And there's a lot of other parties that are like, we're only going to talk to these people because that's all that we care about. Well, the lighting industry is huge, and there's all sorts of different avenues and people involved in it, and just being open to it, and then having the discussion and understanding different perspectives. That's what I feel like we've hopefully been able to accomplish is bringing out different opinions, and so that everybody can formulate their own. That's what, at the end of the day, what you want when you have discussion is not to tell somebody what this is for sure, Ed, or this is what you have to think. We're going to tell you what we think, and you think, and he thinks, and she thinks, and you decide.
I would say, yeah, just open your eyes and look around and do some reality acknowledgement.
Yeah,
What actually is happening here, what's going on in this industry or wherever you are, because a lot of people, it's not usually that people have like understandably bad intentions. Like if something goes wrong in an industry or whatever, and the industry is not working together properly, which is, I would say, this the state of the lighting industry right now, is that people are kind of working against one another as opposed to having a cooperation at the top that sets a set of standards and rules that everyone can abide by and that works for all stakeholders in the channel down to the end user, right? That's
hmm
what the lighting industry was when I came into it. When I came into
yep,
the lighting industry in 1999, there was a set of rules that was, I don't know where, I don't even know if it came from ANSI or NEMA or whoever. They set these rules and everybody abided by the rules and everybody made money. Everybody did well. There was lots of big companies.
right.
And now what we have is Johnny come lately in the lighting marauders took over the industry, and now there's no rules. There's no standardization. There's nothing guiding the industry right now. And I feel like we were the jesters on the outside of the court laughing and pointing at the ridiculousness of the whole thing.
Sure. Yeah, and hopefully it gets people that have the ability to make decisions, some knowledge and thought that they have to put into it now, and say, well, it's why are we doing this? Why is it this way?
Yeah.
And get it back to where it belongs.
Yeah, word from the street. Word on the street is this, right? Word on the
hmm
street is that this is
Yep.
crazy. All of the top guys that sell lighting are saying, hey, this is a problem or whatever. So, that's what I think we're also pointing that out in a way to the industry that at times cause some people to feel awkward about us, Greg.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I mean, and to me is like, why? You know, if this is really what people feel and really what they talk about, you can't get mad about it. It's just like it's like anything. It's like that's how they feel, or that's how it is. So that's what they think. Let them think that, and don't get mad about it. Just like politics and all the other shit out there. Like everybody has their own opinion. Let it happen.
The reason why people didn't come on this show is not because Greg and Michael were impolite or rude to anybody. We always
Not at
gave
all.
editorial control to every guest. They didn't want to release the podcast. We didn't release it. And what is there, half a dozen of those, or maybe 15, 10 or 15 or something like that?
Yeah, there's a few for sure.
Yeah, where people were like, I don't want that released because you got embarrassed because you can't justify your business model doesn't withstand scrutiny.
Right. Right.
Like what you're
And if
saying,
it,
yeah,
if it's legit, then prove it. you know, and we're just questioning because we don't understand it. And when you can't prove it, when we can't understand it, then I get it. Like we're not going to put that out there because I sound bad. Well, then don't maybe rethink how you're doing it before you go out there and tell everybody this.
yeah,
And
yeah.
maybe
You
you've done
actually
it.
talk to guys that know the lighting industry, bud. You're going to talk to
hmm
people that sell lighting every day, and you're going to come in here and tell me about 7% productivity improvements with your new lights that you came up with 6 months ago?
Right.
Yeah, that's not going to
No,
fly around here on Get a Grip on Lighting. I don't believe you.
unless you can prove it. Prove it.
Yeah,
right.
you don't have
Oh, you
any
can't?
proof.
You have no studies? You have nothing? It's just your thought?
Yeah, it's
Okay, well,
marketing. You came on my
yeah,
on the show to talk about your marketing department, what they came up
yeah,
with in the
right,
best case scenario possible we can imagine or dream of.
yeah,
Like, so yeah, people like that didn't make it through. They didn't go on the internet, but they didn't make it through the filters, right?
right, right.
But it was never because anyone that didn't come on Get a Grip on Lighting didn't come on because we sabotaged them or we were unwilling to give them editorial control or whatever. They didn't come on because they knew they couldn't, their business model or what they're saying would not withstand the scrutiny.
Yeah. That's fair. So then
So,
hopefully they should question what they're doing.
yeah, like your business model does not withstand the scrutiny of the industry you serve. And
So
that's
what should
someone
you do?
else's problem? That's a personal
Right.
vendetta against you?
Right. I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense because we had a whole
Yeah.
vote of the entire convened members of NAILED.
Yeah.
And they voted that this information should go out, right? So
Hmm.
the all this idea that somehow we were unwelcoming or we were, rude to people or we, were bad actors, we welcomed anyone and anyone, anytime, any day, any place, buddy. You want to talk
That's
about
right.
lighting?
Let's go. We're ready.
Yeah. And you know what
Oh,
I'll say? It was a powerful combination, you and I. I don't think that these kinds of partnerships come along often in life.
I would agree. Yeah, no, it's something that, we definitely have different personalities and thoughts and feelings on things, but we're both open at the end of the day. We're both open, willing to hear others and learn from it. I think that's the thing that, people need to understand. These discussions are needed, they're necessary. And it's okay to disagree, but learn from it, move on, get better.
And like I'm ready to say that, you know, for me, and I don't know how you feel, but like I'm not saying I'm never going to do a podcast again. I'm not going to make any pronouncements like that. But I'll
Hmm.
tell you this: to those people who think that Greg Ehrich and Michael Colligan like this or like want attention or anything like that, I can't wait to go dark. I don't know about you.
It'll be a nice little break. I mean, doing these recordings of the number that we've had, you really have to adjust your schedule and move around, and then things get canceled, and that screws up your day. And we've done it for years, and yeah, I agree. I don't know that maybe there'll be a comeback someday. Maybe something else will happen, but yeah, right now it's good to just settle in for a bit, focus on other things.
Yeah, it's even though the it was unexpected the way everything kind of closed out. That's a
Hmm.
good way to put it. It was unexpected,
Sure. Yeah,
right? Um,
unexpected, but I don't know if you can expect closure of anything really, can you? Like things just are what they are and
Everything has to
happens,
come
man.
to an end at some point,
Yeah.
and you know, I feel comfortable moving forward. Um, I don't want to be at events. I don't want to talk to people about lighting anymore. Um, I don't want to be controversial or non-controversial. I'm going to stay dangerous. But
Hmm.
but like I just if people think that um, I would say we did it for the money mostly. No,
I would say we did it for the experience.
yeah,
And
but we
money
did it
money
because
helps
we
experience.
had to. Like if people weren't willing to pay enough to make it worthwhile as a side hustle, I would
Hmm.
say if you can't pay for it, if you don't charge for something, it has no value. And so we
Right.
charged a really premium price for Get a Grip on Lighting, and it allowed us to do a lot of fun, have a lot of fun and cool experiences, and do fun things, and create amazing stuff, and launch other people into the podcast world. And you know what I'm saying? It was
Hmm.
it was fun to do, but I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, I think we're in the same boat. Like we had a good ride, a long ride, and I wouldn't have changed anything. So I loved it.
Yeah. And so yeah, so I guess that's a good time to say, Greg, stay dangerous. I want to give my thanks to Keystone Technologies, KEYSTONETECH.com. That's KeystoneTech.com. The Big Easy, Greg Eric.
Yeah, always forever thankful for Keystone. I mean, again, from my business standpoint, I use them on a lot of things because they make sense. I don't just talk about it on this show because they pay us something. We talk about it because they're a great company. They have great product. They have great people. They have everything you need in a lighting manufacturer. And that's why they become a leader. Going back to what we said at the beginning, they listen to you. They listen to the end user. And most importantly, they adapt after they hear this. So again, what we talked about in this show, we've had all these experts, all these people on. If you're not doing something right, if your business model doesn't make sense, listen to people and change it. Make
Hmm.
it make sense and it'll be better for you in the long run, I promise.
Reality acknowledgement, Greg Eric, is very, very important. And when you try to tune out your critics, when you try to tune out people that are putting their necks out there and saying, hey, what about this? When you try to tune those people out, you're going in the wrong direction. They're not going in the wrong direction. All of the sponsors of Get a Grip on Lighting, I would say, well, not all the major ones. I can't remember all of them. I'm talking about the people that did yearly subscriptions with us, Greg, for over the years. I'm not going to say every person that sponsored the show, but all of our major sponsors, I truly believed in those companies. When I recommended those companies, in my heart of hearts, I felt like I was giving a good recommendation out to lighting distributors. You know,
For
Sacco's
sure.
another good company. I like them. They hate each
Hmm.
other. You know, I get it.
I don't know about hate, but yeah,
It's the wrong way
it's
to put
friendly
it.
competitors. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, like that. You obviously those two. You know, they're emerging into the vacuum of leadership in the industry at the same time. So they're
Yeah.
competing with each other. They're getting sucked into a leadership position. But there were lots of good people, good guests over the years. But this one's brought to you by KEYSTONETECH.com. And of course, the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors. That's nailed.org. If you have light bulbs in a warehouse, this is your association.